Welcome to another edition of Great Health, Abundant Happiness, and Outrageous Love. Mwah. What are we talking about tonight? I think, it's about just doing it. Just making things happen. Just making things happen. We were talking about a lot of people have reluctance to do things. We were just talking about a task we had to do tonight, and we thought we did enough, and we just had dinner. Just finished up my wine, let's just go for a walk. And Karen said, no, we made a commitment to do X. And I said, all right, let's just do it. And we decided to talk about this because it's really easy to start making excuses. In sales, we would call this call reluctance.
Right.
You're not getting on the phone because you got to do some research on this client first. You got to look up everything on LinkedIn. You got to go to their website. You got to check out the news on their company. It's like, just dial the phone. Just do it.
Right. If I were as creative with just getting things done as I was with making up excuses not to get things done sometimes, sometimes my excuses for not getting things done are brilliant.
Well, you're not the only one. I think people in general are expert at this.
We are.
Because
we're so good at it.
It's easy not to do things, but it's very easy to do them. You just have to launch it. I think it's Mel Robbins. What is it? I think that's right, Mel Robbins. She does this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is her whole shtick. And it's like whenever you have this reluctance, you just count down like a launch pad.
Right.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and launch. It's a great analogy, great way to think about just do it, just dive in.
Didn't she start that? She went through sort of a depression, and she just woke up one morning and she's like, "That's it, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1," and she got out of bed.
Something like that.
Kind of used that process for getting out of bed and everything else that she had been putting off during this time of depression. And it's a pretty cool technique because whatever your technique is to get something done.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, whenever I think about getting out of bed, it always reminds me when the girls were young and they were having trouble getting up for school, and I'd be up getting them up for school. I always got up early, so I was up ahead of everybody. And I remember explaining to them, I said, if your room was on fire right now and you just opened your eyes and you saw that foot of your bed was on fire and flames were everywhere, would you sit here and roll over and yawn and say, I really don't want to get out of bed? No, you would dive out of bed in fast motion, fast motion movie, and dive out of bed. Yeah, you're right, Dad, I would. You're the same person. It's just a different way that you're looking at the situation. So it's fairly easy when you think about it that way. I guess I can get up and dive out of bed and get started. So it's just starting things like that. It's doing an extra video here. Maybe it's going up and approaching that guy or gal that you've been wanting to meet, and you're just kind of reluctant. I don't know if she's gonna like me.
Well, it's also social distancing, so.
Well, outside.
You can't really approach them too close.
But I'm saying outside.
Which might make it easier.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm saying outside of that, I'd like to think we're all back to normal at some point in time. But it's that reluctance to do whatever it is. Plug in, reluctance to do, boom, fill in the blank.
Right.
And we all have that. And it's one of the last videos you just did was all around self-confidence. It's having the self-confidence to go out and do whatever in the world with in such a way that other people are attracted to you, want to get behind you because you're so confident and so outgoing, your vibration is so high. Same kind of thing. It's just flipping that switch and getting there and just getting on it, right?
Yeah, as they say, just do it, right?
Yeah.
I thought of this last night. We've talked about the dog that was loose that we helped get her, and she's safe and on her way back to Arizona, I believe. But last night when we got a phone call, we were kind of hunkered down and cozy in our nest with the fire on. We had eaten and feeling we had been out a lot yesterday looking for, and we were feeling pretty content right where we were. We had had a little wine and celebrating just life. And
it's cold out.
It's very cold here right now in the mountains. And we got that phone call, and it was just like a flip of the switch. There was no thinking about it. We whipped on our snow boots and our warm winter coats and hats and gloves, and we just went out there, and we were outside for quite some time. And what was really interesting is, as we were talking to the dog's grandmother, who is the one who actually was able to get her arms around the dog, she said, and poor thing, she's here from Arizona where it's 100 and it's so cold here. She said she took off her coat because she wanted the dog to see who she was and to be able to smell her. And and she took off her mask because she wanted the dog to see her face. And all of these things, I think, made a big difference. And a lot of that could have been why the owner was so afraid of, the dog was so afraid of her owner, because I know that she had a full mask on and, was really pretty bundled up because it was just really, really cold here. And normally you would say, oh, it's just too cold for me to do all that, especially someone who's from Arizona. But she did it because that's what she knew she needed to do. And there was no thinking about it. Right?
Yeah, so it's, I guess that's like my analogy for the kids, like if your room was on fire. So it's pretty easy to get your head around it when you're moving into emergency mode. You're going to rescue a dog, you're rescuing a child, rescuing your family. It's fight or flight, right? You're in fight or flight mode then.
Right.
But this is about like every day. We could just be sitting here. Do we need to do another video? No, I'd really rather, have another glass of wine, maybe watch a movie. Saturday night, we want to chill. Or, Monday, I need to call a couple clients. Well, I'd really rather do whatever. I'm surfing the web, or I don't know, whatever it is.
Right.
I'd like to think that I know you have the ability to flip that switch.
Right.
It doesn't have to be in fight or flight mode. This is about just stuff you need to get done. You made a commitment to yourself, made a commitment to people. Right. You just flip the switch, just like you would if you were rescuing somebody.
Right.
Or a house was on fire.
Exactly. So, something that's a lot more mundane is I was doing our payroll on the 29th, a couple of days ago. And we have a brand new system. And I was on the phone and I had this amazing guy, John. Shout out to you, John, if you're watching, because you made my day. You made it fun because it was a long process, because I really had to get myself up to speed on a program that I really was not aware of. And we did everything, and then I timed out. It was my own fault. And so I had to redo it. And basically I was giving him the out and saying, it's okay. I'll let you go and I'll get this done and I'll do it tomorrow. And he said, well, when do you want to have that out? And I said, well, it needs to be out by, this date. And he said, Karen, no, we need to do this right now. And this is exactly what we're talking about. He was my muse, my motivator to get that done, because honestly, and then what he told me is I had until 8, and I think it was about 6. I probably would have walked away from it for an hour for no other reason than to put it off, even though I still had to get it done, right? Still had to get it done. And I'll have to do it again next month. But right after I finished it, how good
you felt really good. Yeah, so it's you just have to know. So if it's not a life or death situation, or you're just going to save somebody, you just have to decide, is it important?
Right.
That's the big question. I mean, that's the hard question to answer. Is it important that I finish writing the book?
Right.
Is it important that I get this payroll done, this new system today? Is it important that I go call that potential significant other that I've wanted to call? If it's no, then don't worry about it. But if it is important, then just do it. I mean, that's the funny thing about this.
Right.
I mean, it really is just a flip of the switch. You ask yourself that question. If it's important, just do it.
Yeah.
Right?
And I also think, if you've made the commitment to others to do something.
Well, that helps.
I would hope.
Yeah.
But I think, if you don't want to do something, it's okay to say no. But I do feel that, whether you want to do it or not, if you said yes and you're committed to doing something, then you need to get that done, which is me every month with payroll. I committed to make sure that everyone gets
Well, you have to,
check,
let me just chime in there. You have to do that. There are people who'd be upset if they didn't get their check. This is their money.
Right.
So that's why it's important to do. But there's a lot of things that, people wouldn't be upset. They might not know.
They might not know.
You have to ask yourself, is it important to you or not? That's the key. And you just said the key. If you make the commitment to others, when we were kids and filling out a goal book, one of the things was not only do you write it down, you make the commitment and tell somebody who's near and dear to you that, honey, I'm going to do this by this date. I'm making this commitment.
Right.
I made it to myself, and you would hope that would be enough. But yes, no, write it down to take it to the next step, and then tell someone who you care about and respect that this is what I'm going to do. This is, you vocalize the goal to get others in, as you said. Once you make the commitment to others, if you have some integrity, you really need to step up and do it. But a lot of us have things that maybe I was going to lose some weight. I'm going to start going for a run every day. I'm going to pick whatever you want. This is in your head, and you just keep putting it off. You have to ask yourself, is it really important? Right. And that's the key. And that's the tough question.
That is the tough question, especially on, those types of things, because I think that's probably one of the biggest things that people make a commitment to is their eating and their exercise, right?
Yeah, well, those things are like almost little secret things you have with yourself. No one's going to notice if you didn't start running today.
And no one but you is going to notice if you had cake instead of an apple for dessert. But the point is, it's like what you said earlier. If it's important to you, then you'll make the healthier choice instead of having the cake. If it's important to you. And if it's not and you really don't care, then why have that conversation in your head?
Well, I can tell you right now, after doing this video, we got to pick the book back up because we've been kind of falling back a little bit. We need to step that back up.
Is it important to you?
Yes, it is. So I'm doing it.
You heard it here. It's important. So Jeffrey will be writing in the book, I'm sure, tomorrow.
Yes.
Maybe tonight. Wishing you great health, abundant happiness, and outrageous love from the Nesta Copper Mountain.
Thanks, guys.